Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Today, we're not just discussing a technical problem, we're addressing a full-blown crisis. We're going to be reviewing the 2025 healthcare cybersecurity landscape, a year defined by unprecedented threats to patient data and hospital operations. To put it bluntly, 2025 has been a catastrophic year for healthcare data. Let's break down the threat landscape and look at the hard numbers. What we're seeing is not a handful of isolated incidents, but a systemic, industry-wide vulnerability that attackers are exploiting at scale. The scale of this problem is staggering. As you can see, this year alone, more than 133 million individual healthcare records were exposed or impermissibly disclosed. This isn't just about names and addresses. This is sensitive patient history, social security numbers, and insurance details. And this massive exposure wasn't from one or two major events. It was the result of 725 separate reported breaches. That's an average of nearly 2 per day. It signifies a fundamental, systemic failure in how we are protecting our data. So, what's causing these breaches? The data is crystal clear. As of October 3rd, the Department of Health and Human Services Office for Civil Rights has received reports of 364 major hacking incidents. This isn't about lost laptops or misfiled papers. This is active, malicious intrusion. Cybercriminals are actively targeting our systems, and they are succeeding at an alarming rate. This makes hacking, by far, the dominant cause of these massive breaches. Now, I want to drill down into the most disruptive and dangerous vector of all, ransomware. In 2025, ransomware attacks on healthcare didn't just continue, they evolved, becoming more aggressive, more targeted, and far more frequent. Looking at the data from the first 3 quarters of 2025, the industry experienced a 30% surge in ransomware attacks compared to the previous year. This chart illustrates that dramatic escalation. This isn't a small uptick, it's a significant, focused campaign against our most critical infrastructure. The financial and operational motives for attacking healthcare are clearly growing. And they are getting smarter. As we see on this slide, their tactics are shifting. In the past, they might target a single hospital network. The 2025 shift, as reported by Industrial Cyber, is a new focus on the supply chain. Attackers are now targeting third-party vendors and service partners. Why attack one hospital when you can attack a single software vendor or billing partner and gain access to hundreds of them? This is a massive force multiplier for them and an existential threat for us. Our security is no longer just our security. It's the security of our weakest vendor. The impact of this is felt most acutely by those who can least afford it. In the first 3 quarters of this year, 293 ransomware attacks directly targeted healthcare providers. And as this chart shows, 94 of those, nearly a third, hit large hospitals and health systems. These are the organizations that handle trauma care, complex surgeries, and regional patient loads. When they go down, it's not just an IT issue. Patient care is immediately threatened, forcing ambulances to be diverted and critical procedures to be canceled. The data is bleak, but we are not powerless. The second half of this presentation is about our response. It is crucial for us to adopt robust, proactive cybersecurity measures. This is no longer an optional IT expense. It is a core, non-negotiable function of patient safety and organizational survival. So, where do we start? Here are 3 non-negotiable pillars for a modern defense. First, in response to the supply chain threat, we must have robust vendor risk management. We have to audit our partners and hold them to the same security standards we hold ourselves. Second, multi-factor authentication must be mandatory. It is the single most effective defense against stolen credentials, which is how most of these hacks begin. And third, network segmentation. We must isolate our critical systems. A breach in the HR department should never be able to spread to the electronic healthcare record database. This containment is critical to limiting the blast radius of an attack. Beyond those technical pillars, we must focus on our people and our plans. First, ongoing employee training. We need regular, realistic phishing simulations. Our staff is not our weakest link. They are a critical part of our defense, and we must empower them. Second, immutable backups. We must assume a breach will happen. This means having offline, encrypted backups that attackers cannot delete or encrypt, and we must test our ability to restore from them. Finally, a tested incident response plan. When an attack hits, you do not want to be exchanging business cards for the first time. You need to know who to call, what to shut down, and how to communicate, all in advance. The challenge ahead is significant. The 2025 data shows that our adversaries are well-funded, relentless, and strategic. It's time for us to be the same. Thank you for your attention. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.